Hi, I'm Mike MAHA, and I'm the old bastard BJJ guy from BJJ Mental Models and Fighting Matters. And my co-host at Fighting Matters recently put out a fantastic episode about RFK Jr. and the MAHA movement, the Make America Healthy Again movement, and its impact on American health. And I wanted to come on here and talk about some personal experiences. Although I was not a part of this episode and recording it, listening to it really made me reflect on the impact of this movement and what it could mean for all of us. Let me give you a little bit of context here. I am 53 years old. I've been involved in combat sports almost my entire life. Basically for 39 years. I've got 3 black belts, Taekwondo, Karate, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I've been an active competitor in at least 2 of those arts for decades. And I'm currently an active competitor in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I lead a very active lifestyle. I take care of my body the best that I can. And I have rheumatoid arthritis. And if you don't know, rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. And it's got the name arthritis in it because the first systems that it attacks tend to be your joints in your hands and your feet. But this autoimmune disease can impact your entire body, your skin, your organs, your eyes, and there are a lot of co-occurring conditions that can go along with that, some of which I have. Since I got diagnosed in my early 30s, I've developed glaucoma, which is a disease of the eyes. Untreated, it can cause blindness. I've developed asthma, which, as we all know, is a disease of the lungs. Got a ton of joint damage, some from just wear and tear, but a lot from just the inflammation that rheumatoid arthritis causes. It can affect a bunch of different organs. It can affect your skin. You can get eczema and other skin diseases. So long story short, the disease itself is a train wreck. And I bring this up because RFK Jr. has talked a lot about fighting chronic diseases in the United States, which I am all about, right? What I have is a chronic disease. It impacts me every day of my life. And oh my God, I would love an administration that is super focused on combating chronic diseases. It seems to me, though, that the way they're going about it is counterproductive, right? This movement in many ways communicates that chronic disease is a personal condition. It's the fault of the individual, right? If we just make better choices, if we just get rid of certain food dyes, if we just exercise more, eat more kale, do more pull-ups, then these diseases we can be rid of these diseases and we can be healthy because we're just making the wrong choices. How is this communicated? Not only directly have we heard statements like that from RFK and his administration, but indirectly by cutting funding and access to things like proven vaccines to fight communicable diseases that can often cause chronic diseases down the way. COVID, for example, and long COVID, right? By cutting funding for things like cancer research and scientific research into other diseases that can have long-term effects on people. I will not deny that there are some diseases, chronic diseases, that are, if not caused by, heavily influenced by lifestyle, right? Type 2 diabetes being one. if you're not eating a healthy diet and not getting any exercise, you tend to have a higher risk for developing type 2 diabetes. I'm not a doctor. I'm a social worker. I'm not in the medical field, so I'm not going to try to talk in a scientific way about any of this stuff. But there are definitely lifestyle choices that contribute to chronic disease. But there are also so many systemic and social things that contribute to chronic disease. And this administration seems to be cutting funding and access to some of these programs and interventions that can help us fight chronic diseases. And that infuriates me, not only as an American, but somebody who suffers from a chronic disease. When I was first diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, I was in my early 30s. I was a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I had just started competing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and started noticing symptoms, pain, swelling in my hands and feet, chronic fatigue, like constantly feeling like I was hit by a train, no matter how much rest or recovery I tried to get. And so I went to the doctor at the behest of my wife, who noticed these things. And, I was the typical guy. I was like, oh, I can push through. Oh, shush, buddy. This is just the impact of being middle-aged and being active, right? But no, that wasn't the case. And so once I got diagnosed and started talking about it, I had so many people trying to tell me that I just needed to make different choices. I needed to go keto. I needed to drink more cherry juice to fight inflammation. I needed to do X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden this would be cured and I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. And that's not the case. There's no simple answer to a lot of chronic conditions that we can face as human beings. And unfortunately, RFK and the MAHA movement seem to want to believe that. It's insulting, it's infuriating, and it's going to make a lot of people sicker, and some people are going to die. You can die as a result of complications from untreated rheumatoid arthritis, right? And it scares me and makes me angry that we have health officials that don't want to believe that and want to put more of that responsibility onto us when there are systems and ways to combat these things other than just personal choice. All right, my dog apparently wants a lot of attention, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Be safe out there, stay healthy, and go get vaccinated for God's sake.